So, Ralph, this was one of the craziest stories that I read in your book, which was the Lucy story.
Okay, we're going to start this story from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it has a little time to it. So what happened was we picked up what's called a purse snatching, me and my partner. I was partners with Roger Cortez, who was in the beginning of my detective career. And I was with my first detective partner, Roger Cortez. And we made a purse snatch arrest, which is close to a robbery, but it's not. It's more like a grand larceny. There was no force. He just grabs the purse and runs away. And we caught the guy on the street, and we got the purse back, and we arrested the guy. And it was at the end of our shift. So we came in with the guy, and my partner, we decide I'm taking the arrest, and my partner goes home because the shift was over. So I'm processing the arrest. And while I'm processing the arrest, a CI of mine comes in. And CI, to say again, if anyone missed it, is a confidential informer. And he was a good informer, gave me a lot of information, right? So he tells me there's a bad guy in the neighborhood selling a gun. And that he sells guns, and he's got one for sale now, and he wants to sell it to him. And he told him he'll be back with the money. And he came in and told me, right? So I tell my boss what I got. I said, hey, listen, I got a CI here, one of my good CIs. He's got a gun deal going down, but my partner went home, and I got a prisoner here. So we leave the prisoner in the cage, and the boss says, I'll be your partner, and we'll handle this. Okay. So he lays it out that he's supposed to meet the guy soon. We got a time. And he's supposed to meet him on a rooftop. So we give him the money. We say, we're going to go down the street. We know the block, the neighborhood. We're going to go down the street, and we're going to go up on a roof, and we'll be able to visually see you. But all the roofs are connected. There's like a parapet between them that you could jump over, but it's about 2 feet high that just separates the buildings. And we're about 5 buildings down. So we go up and we could see the guy. We send him in the building. He goes up and meets with the gun dealer, right? And we got them under observation. And right away, 2 things are out of whack. Now, the plan was for him to buy the gun and have it in his possession. Even though he's no pillar of society, we rather have the gun in his hand than the bad guy's hand, right?
Yeah.
So that was the plan. And 2 things are going sideways already. First, he gets up there, and we notice there's 2 perpetrators. There's 2 guys he's meeting with, not one. That's number one. Second, it's not a handgun. He's got a hunting rifle, which we later find out was stolen just hours earlier in a burglary in a precinct adjacent to ours, right? So at that point, we're waiting for the gun to get exchanged to the CI. But once it's in his possession, we're going to move in. And the next thing that goes wrong, the guy doesn't give it to him, wants to prove to him that the gun's working, and leans over the rooftop and indiscriminately starts sniping. He's firing the rifle indiscriminately into the neighborhood. Now we got no choice but to expose ourselves. We pull out our guns and we start running towards the guy, screaming, police, drop it, police, freeze, all this. And he turns the gun on us and lets one go. We open fire and we shoot him. I think my partner hit him once, and then I hit him because he spun around, and we shot him. And he goes down and drops the rifle. And the second guy runs around like a chimney on the roof. He runs around, we can't see him, right? So the first guy's down, and the CI falls down. He's got enough sense to fall down too, right? Because the bullets are flying everywhere. Now, I emptied my gun on the guy. So I pull out another gun. And just by some freak of nature, it wasn't an authorized gun. I had a 9mm that I just bought from an old partner. And I went to the range the day before and I signed in, and not the police range, a private range nearby. I signed in, but I didn't get the fire because it was so crowded. So I took the gun home. I didn't shoot, and I took it to work that day because I was going to go to the range after. So I had that gun with me. I fired my 38, and I usually carry two 38s, but I kept this. It was a 380 Llama, a real cheap gun, but it was like a 9mm short. And I kept it as a backup for that day since I was going to the range afterwards. So now I pull out that gun, which I'm not authorized to carry because it was an automatic. So I pull that out and I start to go, and I'm following this. I see where the guy went, but I can't see him behind this chimney. And I turn the corner, and there he is, facing me like a foot away with a knife raised above his head in a stabbing motion to come down. My finger tightens on the trigger, but I don't pull the trigger, and I hear a shot. My partner shot him in the back, seeing that he was going to stab me. So the partner went around, shot him in the back, and he goes down. That was my boss. So he screams, "Get the gun, get the gun." Because now we realize the gun's still laying there from the first guy we shot. And you're supposed to get the gun away from the guy. So I go to cross the guy, and he leaps back up with the knife. So I fire this 380. I shoot him in the stomach, killing him. And then I run and get the gun, right? And then we cuff up the guy we shot. The other guy's dead. I just killed. So we shot the other one I shot. We cuff him up, and we cuff up the informer because we don't want anyone to know. And taking them down. Now all the police are responding because people are calling shots fired everywhere, and the sniping before that. So cars are racing to the scene and they're taking them downstairs. And and a friend of mine's coming into the building and he sees all the commotion. It's funny because I've been 50 years later, I did some work for the guy. He had a security company. I was working for him for a while. And he goes, "What's going on?" I said, "What are you doing here?" His name was Tony. I said, "Tony, what are you doing here?" He goes, "My grandmother lives in the building." I said, "Oh, I just shot two guys on the roof." Right? That was ironic. So anyway, we go to the grand jury, we go to trial. The one guy got justifiable homicide again. Everything's good. And that was it.